Hey Van Heist Hedgehogs, welcome back to another exciting week of art with me, Mr. Lynch. I've really enjoyed seeing you all in our synchronous lessons, and we've talked a little bit about, in our synchronous lessons, what we're going to be talking about today, which is negative space. Now, in this not dot image that we created last week, we talked about in our synchronous lesson how our eye is drawn to this area right here, the area with all the color. But in this image, our eye is drawn to the area without any color, that negative space where nothing is happening. And why that is, that's because our eyes go to things that look a little bit different or stand out. In this one, the not dot pops out because it's the only area of the paper that's completely white. Now this got me thinking about what if we created an artwork that was not so much adding material to a piece of paper, but instead taking material away. We would call that subtractive art. So we're going to be getting into some subtractive art today. All you're really going to be needing is a pencil and some paper. So let's get started. All right, all you hedgehogs, here we go. We're going to try out this negative space reductive artwork. And I think I want to turn it into a triptych, which means it's going to be 3 parts. So all you need for this is a piece of paper, and I did add a roll of tape. If you have some tape at home that you can use for this, I think I want to try using some tape. We're going to use that same technique I talked about last week to make your tape unsticky. So I want you to grab a furry friend or just some clothing, and I want you to peel a couple, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to do about 6 pieces of tape. So I want you to carefully peel one nice and long piece of tape. It's almost the length of the paper. I want to kind of try something. So I'm going to, once it's just about as long as the paper, I'm going to rip my tape. And I do want to either take a furry friend and get some of that lint on the tape, because we are going to be peeling this back off of the paper. And I'm going to place it down on my paper going the long way, just like this. Place it right below, just like this. Okay, now I'm going to make 1, 2, 3, 4 more. But they're gonna All right, so here we should have about 3 sections. 1, 2, 3. I am now going to take my pencil, make sure that there's a good amount of lead on your pencil, and I'm actually going to take my pencil and I'm going to flip it sort of sideways like this, and I'm going to put my finger right at the tip because I want to scribble very lightly. I'm not pressing hard. I don't want it to be a very pointy scribble. I want the pencil to kind of be on its side just like this. Very lightly going to scribble just like so. This same project can also be done with chalk or with charcoal. Either of those things will work really well. Okay, now, this is kind of the messy part. We're going to take a finger and we're going to smudge this whole area with our finger. We want to push all of that graphite around so it smudges up our paper really good. Okay, so your finger's going to get a little bit messy. Let's repeat that process for all 3 of these. All right, so we have our light, medium, and dark areas of smudginess. Now you might want to wash your hands at this point because my finger is super duper dirty. I bet yours is too. We are now going to experiment not with this tip of our pencil, the other side, with our eraser. We're doing some reductive art. That means that we're taking material away. Right now, there is all sorts of graphite on here. We're going to take some of that graphite away. And instead of trying to draw a certain picture, I'm going to try to see what happens when I just make some texture sort of shape. So you can experiment with your own textures, you can make your own types of patterns, but I'm going to start with this lightest one here, and I think I'm going to try maybe a zigzag kind of texture, maybe like a furry texture on this one. So let's see what happens when I start to erase. Brush those away, and there you can see we are drawing with our eraser now. I'm just going to keep that pattern up. All right, that turned out pretty well. I think that looks pretty neat. Let's try a different texture over here. Maybe on this side, I'll do some scales, kind of like scales of a fish or a lizard. And when I do scales, I like to use the letter U like this. And since we're erasing, we have to go over it a few times. All right, I've got 2 of mine down. This is looking pretty interesting. I'm thinking for this next one, I'm gonna do something more industrial, maybe like a brickwork design. I'm gonna have this go straight across. So I'm gonna start by making little skinny lines across like this. All right, now I'm gonna make some lines up top. 1, 2. I'm gonna make some lines below, but these lines are gonna happen between the ones I just made. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna continue that pattern. All right, my triptych is almost complete. I've got my 3 different types of textures. Now, you probably noticed the tape got really smudgy all the way around each of the rectangles. We are gonna slowly remove those pieces of tape. And we're gonna try to clean this up a little. By removing this tape, we're gonna give it a really nice border. As you peel your tape off, pull slowly and give it a little bit of a wiggle. All right, these look really nice. I'm gonna cut my paper down a little bit just to frame this up. There we have it, a really lovely reductive texture triptych. That means there's 3 pictures. And if you wanna get extra fancy, you can fold each one in just like this, zoop. So there should be a fold right between each one. This is for extra fancy points. Zoop. And then it can kind of stand up on its own. And don't forget to sign your name. All right, I can't wait to hear how your reductive texture triptychs turn out. I will see you at our next synchronous lesson. But until then, try it out and let me know what you come up with. Can't wait to see you, Van Heis. Have a great week.